Baseball tonight. Met baseball tonight. Mets signed Batista, Smith and Wheeler, and then for the Yankees, German against Hamels. That's where we are right now. Bob in Monroe, New York. What's up, Bob?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Just a couple of things here. I just want to remind you that when these protests started in the NFL, a lot of the owners came out with their team and locked arms with them. So they were initially
a couple,
okay
not a lot,
with it.
not a lot, not a lot, a couple tops.
Okay, so at least just the point being that some of the owners are okay with this.
Very few. The owners are being led. Listen, the bottom line is the NFL has handled this as badly as anything they could have ever handled. It has become a public relations nightmare for them. It has been from the beginning. They own it completely. It has not impacted the other leagues. And it has, listen, which you can make a case, there aren't that many black players in Major League Baseball. There are a tremendous number of Spanish-speaking players in Major League Baseball. There are not a lot of African-American players in hockey, and this is more their issue. There are even many more in the NFL than there are in the NFL, and the NFL and the NBA has not had an issue with this, which says a lot about the NBA that they have not had an issue with this, and this has been owned by one sport completely, has owned this, and it has turned into a terrible weight around their necks, and they cannot get rid of it. They really can't. They don't know what to do.
No, and I agree with you on that, and I think, to your point, I think there's a better way for these players to, get their messages out than continuing with what they've been doing. The other point is I'm very surprised that you were okay with the Mets bringing in Batista. I mean, I know he might have a little bit of pop
left. It doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah, but it's like it's back to it's their same old pattern here.
Well, wait a second. They're in season. Where do you want to get a player for nothing? Where are you going to get a player for nothing?
No, I agree, but
they have three right-handed hitters on the DL right now. So they have three of their right, what they consider their everyday right-handed hitters on the DL right now. If that's the case, why not bring him in until you at least get those guys back, and then if he does more than that, you deal with it then. So if he won 2 games this week and then left, it'd be okay. So, you add guys like this short term. They didn't make any kind of commitment to this guy. So, they don't owe him anything except they owe him a couple of swings. That's what they owe him,
So what do they have to pay him to come play for us?
I'm sure the minimum.
Okay.
I'm sure he's getting paid the minimum, I would think. I don't think they gave him any, we haven't seen any numbers yet, but I would think he's getting the minimum. So I don't think there's any real major amount of money here involved. Andrew in Howard Beach. What's up, Andrew?
Mike, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah,
and if you can answer it, if you can answer it, then I'm going to say that you're the man. Okay?
Ask the question.
Okay, if you had one black NFL owner, and he said before every game, because he believes strongly in these protests, that he wants every NFL player on his team to take a knee, and they opposed him, what would you say to that?
If I had a NFL owner who was black, okay.
If there was one NFL owner who was black, and he strongly agreed with Colin Kaepernick,
right?
And he said to every player, black and white on his team, I believe so strongly in this that I want each and every one of you to take a knee during the singing of the anthem. And you disagreed with that. What would you say to that?
If I disagreed, if I were a player?
No, just you as Mike Francesa.
Well, he would have his right to do that as an owner. He could absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, if he chose, he's the employer. If he chose to have his team react that way, he's the owner. He's paying the checks. If he chose to do it, now I don't know if every player.
How do you know the owners aren't saying that now?
Oh, we know a lot of the owners have completely been against it. I mean, there are owners that have told their team they don't want them doing it. There are other owners that have stayed out of it. So we know there are owners that object to this. We know there are. I didn't say every owner objects to it, but we know that a lot of owners do.
There's a difference, though, Mike. What you're saying is The owners.
What I'm saying is that the owner. What I'm saying is the player doesn't have. This is not a free speech issue. That's what I'm saying.
But it is. You're missing.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm not missing the point. It's not a free speech issue. It's not a free speech issue.
Experience with this.
Wait a second. What is your experience?
I'm an American.
Oh, wait, that's not an experience. You don't have a right to put that uniform on.
Who said I don't have the right?
Because you're an employee. You're wearing a uniform. You are doing a job.
Right.
No.
I have every right to protest.
You do, really? No,
yes,
you don't. And do you know that there is already you don't have any right to do it. You don't. Listen, you have a right to do it as a citizen. You don't have a right to do it as an employee. Once you are being paid, you do what you're told to do in that uniform. You are working.
And my point is, you don't know what they're saying. They could be saying... No,
Andrew, if you think they are being told to kneel, you are out of your mind, okay? You are completely out of your mind if you think that's what they're being told. So you just changed your whole argument. When I said they didn't have a right to do it, you said maybe they're being told. That's not what your point was. You started with they had a right to do it. They don't have a right to do it. They are employees. They are doing it in a full stadium because that's the only place they can get attention. If they do it in a field on a Tuesday night, nobody shows up. What they're doing is they are stealing the moment. They are taking Sunday at 1 o'clock and saying, I'm going to use this moment in a full stadium to make my stand and to make my statement, even though I'm an employee. And that, to me, is wrong. They don't have a right to do that. They are employees, and there is, at least unless the NFL has taken it out, there is in the NFL, could you bring this to me, Mons, NFL Code of Conduct. There is written words there stating that the player is told to tuck his helmet under his arm and stand at attention for the national anthem, or else he is in violation. It is in the NFL Code of Conduct. So it is a rule. It just hasn't been enforced. Eddie in Rockland County. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, Mike. Welcome back.
What's happening?
First thing, what I would do is just whoever kneels, let the players deal with it. If they kneel, they get their game check taken away, and the rest of the players get 10%, and the money goes to the families that had the incidents. And why do these players, when they retire at 30, go be the police officers of these inner cities and deal with these kids?
Hey, I'll tell you what I would have done, Eddie, is exactly what you just said. I would have said to the players, here's what I did. You knelt my time. I donated your check to charity.
There you go.
That's what. Thank you. They'll hope they send you a nice note. I donated your check to charity. You're not getting paid this week. That's what I would do as an owner. That you decided to make a public stand, I decided to make a public stand. My public stand is you're not getting paid. So I took your $35,000 or your $45,000, and if you notice, it's not the star players that are doing it, because they have too much to lose in terms of game checks and in terms of their endorsements. It is not the star players for the most part who are doing it. And Kaepernick is not a star. He was a player that anyone would have to say was on the downside of his arc in the league since Harbaugh left. Ryan in Jersey, what's up, Ryan?
Mike, would you agree that I don't think this is going to last because of what these players are seeing Kaepernick did, and he ruined his entire career and gave up millions and millions of dollars because he did this? Do you think this is really going to last?
Well, listen, you've seen guys doing it, and they've gotten away with it. Here's what I want to get into. The NFL rulebook makes no mention of the national anthem, but the game operational manual, the game operations manual that is given to the players does. Here's what the game operation manual says regarding the national anthem. This is official from the NFL Game Operations Manual. The national anthem must be played, understand must, be played prior to every NFL game, and all players must, understand? These are work conditions, must be on the sideline for the national anthem. Must. During the national anthem, players on the field and the bench area should stand at attention, face the flag, hold helmets in their left hand, and refrain from talking. The home team should ensure the national anthem is played and that the American flag is in good condition. It should be pointed out to the players and coaches that we continue to be judged by the public in this area of respect for the flag and our country. Failure to be on the field by the start of the national anthem may result in discipline, such as fines, suspensions, and forfeiture of draft choices. That is in the NFL game operations for code of conduct. It is an NFL rule and has been. Now, I can tell you that the gutless NFL has been talking about amending this and taking it out of the code of conduct. They haven't yet, but they have been talking about it. And today we learned they may replace it with the home team may decide for the road team, but if you do it, it may be a 15-yard penalty. There's a way to put some teeth in it. Okay. Mark and Brick, what's up, Mark?
Hey, Mike.
What's happening?
One, it's interesting to see that the whole argument for this is to just be calm and then start yelling at you when you don't agree. And two, what I don't understand, all of the players, we live in a 24-hour news cycle. All of the players, or most of the players, especially the big-time players, after the game, have the ability to talk to the media. So why don't they use that time to get across the talking points? Because they're definitely going to get coverage of it.
But that's a fair point. I mean, they don't choose to do it there. I don't know. Maybe they. I don't know what their feeling is on that. I think they're looking for more of a visual show of contempt or a visual show of disrespect for the flag to show our objection to what is happening. I think that was their point. They wanted to be a visual statement. You know, they wanted it to be something that people could see, could visually see happening and see happening as everyone stood to attention, and it would be very noticeable. And I think that's true. But the idea that this is the part that is just a complete misconception. The idea that the player has a right to express himself during the national anthem while in uniform on the sideline is just not true. He does not. He has decided, to me, when he leaves that locker room in that uniform, he has agreed to be part of the team and to be paid handsomely for his efforts that day. So he then is not, it's not then where he has his rights. Now, after the game ends, on a Tuesday night, on a Wednesday morning, on a Friday night, on a Saturday afternoon, he can have a protest march, he can have a rally, he can make any statement he wants, and you know what? He'll be making it to dead air because there'll be nobody there to notice it. Which is why they choose 2 minutes before 1 to make their stand. That's the reason. But they have no right to do that because they've agreed, by being in that uniform and being paid, they've agreed to basically abide by what the rules are. And the rule is that you honor the national anthem, which some players have not been doing. And now the idea that we're going to bring the officials into it just shows you that the NFL has made no ground up, absolutely none, in this area, has really gotten nowhere in this area. Which is kind of sad, because you would think that this is an issue that has been a hot-button issue with them for a very long time. They just come off an extremely long off-season. February, March, April, May. I mean, it has been a very long stretch where they just have not done anything and not have moved along here and gotten a consensus on this issue, which is kind of sad and shows a lack of leadership. And the NFL is completely running away from the entire issue. Back after this.